Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's chapter 2, The First Friend.
The First Friend.
Oh, it's gonna be so great. What a cheerful story this is. And absolutely no incest.
It's like, part of it is kind of like a really hopeful story, but it's really hopeful because the situation is so fucked up in the first place.
Yes. This is the interesting thing about Umineko with all the restarting that we've had through each of the episodes, and now we're going like all the way back. So before all the fucked up, well, some fucked up shit had happened, but like the murders haven't happened, you know? And we're seeing this person.
In fact, I mean, I'm assuming it's just gonna be exactly the same as Shannon without the tattoo, but we haven't actually looked at these servants with their new sprites yet, so there's that. That's the thing.
Hello.
They don't
Miss
have
Roth.
quite as enormous breasts as Shannon's new sprite does.
Yeah, they've been toned down a little bit. I wonder if Shannon's have also been toned down, or if that's just...
I'd like to imagine that they in fact, it almost kind of looks like they literally just took Shannon's breasts and just made them smaller, like directly scaled.
We should see if we can find a spot where there's a sprite of one of these maids and Shannon at the same shot.
Let's go. Yasu, what did you do with the small broom? Oh, well, there you go. That's easy.
Yeah, well, that was fucking quick. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
And they got bigger.
That's a difference.
Shannon. Well, at least we can compare the sprites. Yeah, I mean, it just looks like a kind of shrunk version of Shannon's
It's pretty much exactly the same, except for the tattoo and...
The tie looks to be a little bit drawn differently, because Shannon's has to go over her boobs. But, like, yeah, it's very similar sprite, at the very least. I wonder if the color on the gem is a little different. Anyway. Sure, it's the same.
I don't think it is.
It's just the size that's throwing me off.
It's probably actually the hair color that's making it seem different.
Probably. The contrast.
Didn't you use it to clean the window frames?
The small broom is a little thin broom that looks like a large paintbrush. We use it to clear out the dust in small corners, like window frames. It's one of the cleaning tools I was put in charge of.
Come on, that's your responsibility. What have you been doing, idiot? Quickly go and find it. You have to do it before Madame finds out. What's up? Guess I lost a small broom again. The kid must be some sort of genius at losing things. That's why I'm always telling you, never give things to Yasu. Yasu's always so careless in losing things. Don't say that. Can't you see this kid's working hard? Go on, hurry and find it. I'll wait for you.
It's almost like none of them are responding to Shannon.
What? That's insane.
That's insane.
Okay. Not wanting to hear my fellow servants complain even more, I spun around and headed off. If you lose a tool, you get in trouble. If no one knows who did it, we all get yelled at. So, one of them will probably tell Madame that it was my fault. Still, it really is my fault that I lost it in the first place. I wonder when I lost it. When? We cleaned out the entire chapel today. The chapel is a large building behind the mansion. However, no one ever goes near it normally. Even so, we are ordered to clean it a few times each year. Kinzo calls it a sacred building, so Natsu is very strict about it.
This goes back to my original comment way back when I was like, the outside of the chapel seems way bigger than the inside. And now
because there's a bunch of rooms that we were missing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I kind of just took it to be a fault of the images, but it seems more like it was just because we had more to see.
Yeah. We cleaned every little nook and cranny from top to bottom. It had taken all day. I had been in charge of cleaning the window frames, but I had also been given many smaller tasks. While those small jobs were keeping me busy, I completely forgot about the small broom, and I must have left it lying around somewhere. I began to hate myself for it. This isn't the first time this has happened. It happens all the time. Every time I set something down, it always disappears. It goes somewhere else, vanishes. I thought it was probably the witch, Beatrice, pranking me. The ghost of the witch gained power from Rekenjima's evil spirits and was reborn. Until Kumasawa-san told me, I never knew the meaning of the shrine on the rocks by the sea. Kumasawa told an old tale passed down among the local fishermen. Rekenjima used to be known as a Kushikishima.
One day we'll get that right without having to think about it.
In the first episode, we did it.
We did in the first episode. But I also love that every time it pops up in a line, I'm like reading this word and kind of just ignoring the rest of the sentence.
Kushikishima and terrible evil spirits who ate human souls live there.
Oof, hold on.
Bring it back. It's been a hot minute. We watched a movie.
In the TV business, and I went, I'm a game show host. So
I'm a game show host.
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 Hey, Kumasawa, let us hear too.
Tells the scary, scary tale of Rekenjima's evil spirits.
I think this is probably the closest example we've had to how bad our impressions of Drukaria. We love you, Drew.
Love you, Drew. Oh, very well, very well. Rekenjima was once called a Zukikishima. What? That's a different one. Azukishima. However, even deeper in the distant past, it was known as Akushikishima. Nailed it. It was rumored that sailors who went too near the island were dragged down to the bottom of the sea and had their souls eaten. Yes, frightening spirits such as those do exist on this island. It was Kumasawa's favorite ghost story. Every new servant who came to the island heard about it. Such stories are usually laughed off, but when stormy nights visited Rekenjima, bringing an eerie howling to that lonely island where nothing exists except the Oshumiya mansion, everyone would listen meekly. The shrine by the coast was there to seal the evil spirits away.
And the master had that creepy occult hobby.
And the mansion was so spooky, it was easy to picture something hiding in the shadows.
I will say, I never really noticed the whole point of why Zephyr and Furfur's gender is so, like, unclear.
Vague,
like,
yeah.
it just says, it's the opposite of each other, but we don't know which is which. Mm-hmm. Like, that just never clicked to me that they were, like, a further personification of Seo.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Oh, Tutu! The traveling Shugenja monk was only barely able to suppress those spirits. The seal just managed to hold them, but to this very day, they wander through the mansion night after night, searching for a victim.
Have you seen the master study?
I have. It's like some kind of demon laboratory.
There's a rumor about the master researching demons.
They also say he's researching how to revive his mistress, Beatrice.
Didn't they say he was gathering children to be sacrifices for his magic experiments?
Why, scary. What do you do if the master asks you to come into that study alone?
I heard that long ago one kid went into the study and never came out.
That must have been a victim of an experiment to give Beatrice's ghost a new body. Oh, very true. Beatrice-sama has become a ghost and wanders around searching for a body. The VIP room on the second floor is where Beatrice-sama dwells. You must always be respectful when cleaning that room. If you aren't...
Jesus Christ, Kumasawa.
Oh, poor Sarah. In the eyes of teenage boys and girls with their powerful imaginations, the ghost story was both terrifying and fascinating. It gave them a sense of solidarity, since they all got to experience the same tale. Then, that sharing became an obligation, and accepting the story became a rite of passage for joining the community. This was something that had been passed on since long ago.
That's right. Back when I first started off work at Rekenjima, I heard that story from Kumasawa-san and the older servants.
I heard about it too, mostly from Nei-san. I heard it too, from Kumasawa-san mainly. So not only the timid-looking Shannon, but a boy Cannon and a big adult Gota believed in the ghost story. Well, I didn't really. There are tales of ghost stories and jinxes in all jobs. There were several stories of the sort at the hotel I once worked at.
You remember that time in episode 3 where Goda's like, well, it's a good thing I respect the witch and don't deny her existence, but it's a good thing that this ghost story isn't real, and then immediately died?
Yeah, he immediately gets attacked.
So you thought it was silly and you didn't mind at all?
I think there was a need to blend with the community. That's it! Ghost stories and jinxes are the local rules of your workplace. If a newcomer breaks those rules, they can't expect to be welcomed in. Exactly. If I said witches couldn't possibly exist, that the whole idea was ridiculous, and I'd get into a fight with Nei-san, it was easier if I just appeared to go along with it.
Come on, if you think that way, you'll be cursed. There's one servant who got seriously injured.
Ha 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 ha! All workplaces have stories like that. No matter how incredible the ghost stories or tales about the company founder are, you accept and believe them. That's what it means to blend in with your new workplace. Wow, everyone's so mature.
Are they, though? Are they?
Are they? I went to each window around the chapel in the order I'd cleaned them, searching carefully in all the places I might have left it. I had been cleaning the windows with it, so it had probably been set down near one of those. When did I leave it behind, I wonder? Now that I think about it, I don't think I had it anymore when I reached the last window, so I must have completely forgotten to clean that window frame. Ah. Through the window, I could see the others leaving, one after another. Shannon turned around and glanced up, looking worried. I don't want to be responsible for making everyone wait, so I'm actually glad they're leaving without me. If I said I wanted them to wait for me, I've been relying on them too much.
Long pause.
You know what that means? The sun's beginning to set, and the chapel's getting darker and darker. I don't want to hang around at a place like this all by myself. I better find the small room fast. No, that's not all. I also need to clean the window frames I forgot. Madam is strict. She'll probably check all of the windows carefully. If she does, I'll be the one who gets in trouble tomorrow. But really, where did I lose it? Why did I lose it? The darkness grew and grew. When it became dark enough that I would need a light before long, I began to panic. I dashed around and around the chapel, tears streaming down my face. As I stumbled about pathetically, I could feel the presence of a prankster witch giggling at me from the crack of the door and gaps in the ceiling. The ghost of Beatrice, the master's mistress, wanders about in search of a body to this very day. As she absorbs the power of her country's evil spirits, her strength steadily grows as she waits for the day of her resurrection. And, for some reason, she's peeking out at me. And if I ever take my eyes off something for a second, she snatches it away and hides it. This isn't the first time this has happened. Whenever I look away, keys, handkerchiefs, pencils, erasers, all of them vanish almost right away.
Into a mysterious gap.
Even though I was planning to use them later, or just wanted to put them in their proper place, they disappear as soon as I turn around. It isn't someone hiding them as a prank. It's happened many times when I'm the only person around. Everyone always says I'm too careless and forgetful, and they laugh at me, get mad at me. I do try to be alert, but like some kind of bad joke, I lose things easily when I forget about them for just a short while. So, sometimes I think, this eraser is going to disappear sooner or later, and I stare at it. But at those times alone, it doesn't disappear. Nothing disappears when I'm alert. But as soon as I think I'm safe, and the tension relaxes just a bit, then something else will disappear. Why is it always me? You want to take this?
I'm assuming this is Gaap.
Yeah, I hear you. I can tell that the witch is laughing at me as I lamely run around in circles. Listening to that voiceless laugh, I finally slammed my hands against the wall, crying tears of frustration. Please, just stop it. Why do you always hide my things and get me in trouble? And the witch answered.
Fool, isn't it obvious? Why else except to entertain myself by watching you wander about pointlessly?
Oh dear. I couldn't bear it. Even though I knew what she said was true, hearing it said directly was incredibly annoying. I understand. That small broom probably is somewhere in this chapel. No, that's not quite it. I'm sure at the moment before I reached this window, it was right there on the windowsill. That's right, I'm sure I put it by this window, but the prankster witch Beatrice used her magic, and just before I reached the spot, she instantly teleported the small broom next to the next window over. The instant I approached that window, a hole appeared beneath the small broom, swallowing it up. Hey, Gaap. And it came out by the next window after that. It landed right inside it, as though it had been there the whole time. And this happened over and over again. As I ran up to that window, the small broom fell into a magical hole and went to the next window. And when I went to that window, it went to the next window. And I realized that she was just making fun of me. So no matter how much I searched, it would be useless. But if I stopped searching, it would be just sitting there by one window or another. So, this isn't a search. It's a test of endurance. I kept chasing after the small broom, and Beatrice kept making it escape to the next window over, trying to make me give up. It's an eternal chase that'll end only when one of us gives up. So, I kept going around and around, even to windows that I knew I'd already searched. If it's not by this one, then try the next one, and the next one. And the witch kept moving the small broom to the next window and the next. Just give it a rest! How long are you going to make fun of me? This isn't the only time. You always do this. The shrill, voiceless laugh of the formless witch continued to mock my sobbing. The witch is right beside me, laughing at me. As I dash around the chapel, she's following along with me, taunting me. Then, she must be there.
So the only interesting thing about, well, not the only interesting, but the interesting thing.
The only interesting part of this whole novel, yes,
is that in your claim that it is Nanjo, and in my agreeing with you, it doesn't really make sense because there hasn't really been any like established relationship between Seo and Nanjo at this point. Like clearly they've encountered each other when when she was like a baby or whatever. But
yeah, I mean it doesn't make a lot of sense for Nanjo to be moving brooms around, right? She must be there. She's right behind me, just over my shoulder, still cackling away. I know that turning around won't help, since she has no form. I can try to look, but I mustn't look with my eyes. Once my eyes tell me there's nothing there, I won't be able to see anymore. I learned that from the director at the Fukuin house. You mustn't try to see with your eyes. You must see with the eyes of your heart. The whole world is filled with God's love.
Who is this director?
In the many blessings of everyday life, one can see God, angels, and the Holy Ghost. If you try to look with your eyes, you won't see them, so you won't be able to see them. So you won't be able to feel them or understand them. With the eyes of the heart, you'll quietly understand. You don't look at their image, you see and draw them with your heart. In this way, I learned how to recognize beings not of this world at the Fukuin house. It doesn't just mean being able to see God. This power lets one see all of those not of this world. Please, stop it now. Stop this prank.
Oh, so you can speak to me.
I'm clumsy, bad at my job, and I do put things down and forget about them a lot. But I know which things were my fault and which things were because of your pranks.
How amusing. Not only can you perceive me in my former state, you can even understand my little game. Seems more interesting than I thought. Yasu?
I'm usually called Yasu when one of the older servants is laughing behind my back. It's a mistake I've made. So when I hear that name, it feels bad. She called me, not by the blessed name given to me by the Fukuin house, but by that unblessed name. Upsetting the heart is a classic move that evil beings make. They do it to make it harder for people to notice their presence. To beings like witches, being understood is like shoving them out into the light of day. It won't work. In the Fukuin house, I learned how to perceive those not of this world, so I'm already able to understand you.
Very interesting. You've taken me, a being so faint that I'd fly away if you blew me, and then trap me, perceive me. You're an interesting kid, Yasu.
It won't work. I've now understood and perceived you. No matter how many unpleasant things you say, you just expose the ugliness of your heart. Without turning around, I slowly let my range of vision fill the entire chapel. It was as though the viewpoint of my soul was floating out from the shell of my head. See, inch by inch, my range of vision is floating out of my head and drifting upwards. As I look down at myself, standing there with head hanging and eyes tightly shut, the eyes of my heart very slowly rose up to the ceiling of the chapel. And when I looked down from there, I saw myself standing in the center of the chapel and the witch standing behind me. Apparently, the witch realized that I could see her. Sup, Gaap? How you doing?
My goodness.
She turned around and raised her eyes to look at the eyes of the heart of my heart, floating by the ceiling. At last, I could see the witch Beatrice with the eyes of my heart.
A mere human that can perceive my form.
The demonic lips twisted in an ugly curve. It was clearly a challenging, repulsive, demon smile. She wore a blood-red dress and hat. The design was completely different from anything humans wore. Her hair was blonde, yet had countless beautiful curls, like a princess from a picture book. But there was no trace of cuteness about her.
I did think you were a bit different from the other humans, but it seems I was mistaken. Forget just a bit. You're nothing like those other humans.
You sad witch who can be seen by no one, heard by no one. Have you been pulling these pranks all the time just to catch the attention of humans?
I use what little magic I have to interfere when humans aren't looking. But no matter what I do, none of them think it's magic. They decided they just made a little mistake and blew my existence away like the candles on a cake.
If so, then I've just saved you, because I understand you and have perceived you.
Saved me? To me, this meeting with you is nothing more than a new way to kill time.
It's getting dark. I don't have time to play with you anymore.
Oh, my apologies. I was so engrossed that I didn't notice the time.
Please, give it back. My cleaning tool.
That small broom or whatever you call it, it's right there by the next window.
But as soon as I get close, you'll move it to the next window over.
Oh, my form is elusive, as is my magic. With the snap of my fingers, I can do anything.
Witch snapped her fingers, and various things throughout the chapel were sucked into a black pitfall beneath them, disappearing. No, they didn't disappear. The instant they vanished into the dark holes, other dark holes appeared in completely different parts of the chapel, and the vanished objects fell out of those. Chairs, musical scores, clocks, and vases started appearing and disappearing all across the room. It made it feel as though countless tools were flying about the chapel.
I can do things like this, but don't. After all, this would be a bit beyond a mere prank, don't you think?
I wonder what the difference between a prank and magic is to a witch. When she snapped her fingers again, all of the loud flying objects returned to their original spots, and silence fell.
I've taken a liking to you. You've perceived and captured me. Works the same in reverse. I perceived and captured you.
The Fukun director told me not to try and see evil beings. If you see them, they will possess you. Now that I understood this witch, a bond had been formed between us.
That is correct. Now that you have acknowledged my existence, I've formed a bond with you. After all the years I've spent in boredom, it'd be nice to have a young kid like you to talk to.
I'll talk to you from time to time. So, will you stop pulling pranks like this?
No, I'm not. I'm not here to talk to you, but to play with you. If we're playing, pranks are just part of the game, right? Very well. I've had enough fun for one day. Sun is sunk and the moon is full. I'm a bit tired after appearing in front of you for so long. Let's call it a night. Look how much fun we had with just a single broom.
Please give it back.
No way. I'll keep this as a token of our meeting. Got a problem with that.
If I said I did, would you give it back to me?
I never listen to humans. However, I might lend an ear to a friend.
If you give it back, I'll acknowledge you as a friend.
Foolish human, did you actually think that alone would make me want a deal? If you want to make a deal with me, try drawing a mysterious magic circle or two. And yet, I might consider your proposal.
What do you mean you might?
I'll take my time in deciding whether you're worthy to be my friend. After all, to be a witch is is to be a contrarian. And I'm a Manajaku.
Manajaku, yeah.
If you ask us for an answer, we'll never give one right away.
Understood. Then, I'll leave the small broom with you. Please, give it back when you decide to become my friend.
Very well. Will this broom become a bridge of friendship between us, or not? I'll hang on to it for now, making my decision in good time.
When the witch snapped her fingers, the broom for which I had searched so long fell out of a hole in the air, landing between the fingers she had just snapped.
This is goodbye. This game with you was far from boring. Let's play again sometime.
If you're my friend, that is.
When a cat toys with a mouse, does it try to become friends with it first?
Bye, Gaap. Thanks for dropping by. What a nerd. The witch faded away. As she did, the eyes of my heart shut themselves. When I returned to my body, I felt suddenly tired and let out the breath I'd been holding. Of course, when I turned around, there was no one to be seen. I couldn't feel the witch's presence anywhere anymore. It had gotten very dark by this time. I decided to leave the chapel. There's no point in searching for the small broom any longer, not until the witch decides to give it back. I went out of the chapel. The chapel key had been left in the lock. I used it to lock the door. What am I going to do about the small broom? There's nothing I can do. I can't even blame the witch. I must acknowledge that I'm responsible for giving the witch a chance. When I happened to glance downwards, I saw a small broom lying there by my feet. It was the broom I had been searching for all this time. Don't tell me that it'll be swallowed up by a dark hole the instant I bend over to pick it up. No. This is a sign from the witch. A sign that she acknowledges me as a friend. I picked it up. Oh, I am one yet many. The first friend I made after coming to the island was apparently not a human at all. However, when I think back on it, it was only natural. What other sort of friend would you expect to make on a witch's island? This was the first meeting between me and Beatrice. However, as some of you listeners may have noticed, this was not a meeting with the real Beatrice. The witch I then called Beatrice would later be known by another name.
Have we actually looked at Claire's new sprite yet?
I don't know. We should do that now.
I'm gonna go.
I've been so caught up in everything that I
Same.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we did.
There she is. She looks very sad.
Her new sprite is a lot more like like, this hair in her new sprite is a lot more like the hair on Beatrice's sprite.
Yeah.
Than the original. It's like just the fringe.
Does she flick it to new for a second? Can you see the book? Oh yeah, the book's still there. I don't know, it looks more like her arm is like hanging lifelessly from her side in the new image, I think. Which I think is probably appropriate. I'm just thinking. However, she was clearly not human. And being bonded with one who is not human means being bonded with their world. I still had no way of knowing the varied fates that waited for me on Rokkenjima. End of chapter 2. The first friend.
There wasn't any applause for the end of the first chapter.
No, I don't think so. Rude. Rude.
Man, these keep being really short. I feel like we should do another double.
Yep, I'm down for it.
Let's do it. And before the next one's like fucking an hour and a half.
I can't wait. Let's just record till like midnight. That sounds like a good plan.
That's a terrible plan.
Yes, seriously. Not only was Yasu slow-witted, that kid also lost stuff all the time. But even so, Yasu always had this look like someone had taken whatever it was away. It really pissed me off. The kid just didn't know how to concentrate. If you always act in a way that dreamy without thinking, it's no surprise you do bad work. But it was only like that in the beginning, right? After some time, that kid started concentrating, all of the bad stuff stopped happening. Really? Well, it was all stuff that anyone should be able to do anyway.
Learning to do things that everyone can do is part of growing up. I doubt the rest of you were so clever about everything when you first started, yes?
Are you kidding? If we weren't clever, we'd never have been selected to work for the Ishimiya family.
Damn. Wait. Yeah, don't worry.
What? It wasn't pride
like,
that was being prideful?
She's like, no, she's like, if we weren't clever, we'd never been selected to work. But Yasu was also selected to work. It's whatever.
Well,
it's just them being nerds.
The whole thing is that they were, you know, taking guesses that she was getting special treatment.
Yeah.
Which seems to be the truth, so you can't really blame them that much.
I know, I can't blame them that much, but they are the worst.
We're supposed to be the elite. The fact that Yasu was young was no excuse.
Right.
That's right. If Yasu was supposed to learn a cleverness by growing up, then that should have been done before coming to work for the Ishimiyas. Come on. That kid worked really hard to balance school and work. I think you're all being too harsh. We were selected because we made it through a harsh process, right?
Right.
There's no need for us to pamper Yasu. I'm sick of this. I don't get why someone as dull-witted as Yasu was chosen.
Being selected as an Ishimiya family servant was an achievement that all Fukuin children respected. The older servants had achieved glory by making it through the strict selection process. Yasu was so clumsy that they all wondered why that child had been chosen. Of course, Yasu was working very hard for a child of that age. However, before long, the unsatisfied older servants started being mean to Yasu whenever they got the chance. Even after getting used to life on Rokkenjima, Yasu didn't manage to make a single friend. At least, not any human friends. Chapter 3. Days Enraptured.
Yay! They're gonna show us the book. There it is.
There you go.
Wait, what does it say underneath?
I don't know. It's all blurry.
It's really blurry.
I'd love to see the original images. Oh, yes, that can sometimes happen, and always when you're busy. Perhaps a fairy is pulling pranks on you. Or a witch. It's a witch pulling pranks on me. I mean, I knew I'd put it right there, and when I looked away for just a second, it had disappeared. The witch had pranked me again. I left my master key behind. Madame found out, and I got in a lot of trouble. But I always put my master key in my pocket after I use it. Why was it in a place like that?
You know, the thing that I'm noticing is that, like, we're told that, you know, the family conference was always, like, a heap of servants that were working, and it was the busiest time for year of servants.
Yeah.
But then, at
There seems
just
to be a
random
large
generic
number.
times of
Yeah.
years is when we have more servants.
I don't know. I know what's going on there.
I mean, I think the assumption is that maybe it was coordinated that there were fewer servants at that particular family conference.
Maybe. And this is the third time it's happened. The last 2 times, I realized that it wasn't in my pocket and managed to find it before anyone found out. But the third time, Madame found it. I was really mad and frustrated with that witch in the red dress. Oh, ho, Oh, Beatrice's pranks can be quite troublesome. But if you're dealing with a witch, shouldn't a ritual of some sort do the trick? A ritual? Kumasawa-san started fishing through the kitchen cupboard, saying, now where did that get to? What a dime. The thing she finally found and brought to me was a kite string. She stretched it out for me to see, and used a knife to cut off a 50cm piece. Try tying this end to the key, then tie the other end to your pocket button or some other place it doesn't stick out. This charm represents the ritual of the spider web. A spider web? Like the ones the evil spirits of Rekenjima fear. Good, I'm glad you remember. It is said that the spiderwebs on this island are imbued with magical power, and that they can be quite effective at repelling evil. See, if you stretch it out like this, it looks like a spiderweb, doesn't it? Oh, this way, that spiderweb hating Beatrice won't be able to prank you anymore. That does make sense. It really does look like a spiderweb when pulled tight. Since Kumasawa-san says so, it must have some pretty strong evil repelling power. I could just ask her to make several of these kite strings for me, and then I can tie them to everything I don't want to lose. But of course, that wouldn't be very practical. I'd have strings all over me. What about things I can't keep tied to me, like pencils and erasers? Oh, for times like that, there's a different ritual. All you have to do is make a house for Mr. Pencil and Mr. Eraser. Make a house? You mean build a roof and a bed and stuff? You aren't actually building a house, you're giving them one. For example, take the knife I cut the string with. I want to go home. He's such a lonely kid that he wants to go home the moment he steps outside. So, if we leave him anywhere else, he'll get lost and start crying. See? We just left Mr. Knife lying there, so he got lonely and started crying. Poor thing. We have to get Mr. Knife home. Mr. Knife's house is right here. See? His whole family of knives is waiting for him. Mama, I'm home. Welcome back. See? Kumasawa-san returned the knife to the knife holder under the sink. Even though she had done something so ordinary, I felt slightly moved, as though the lost little knife had finished his adventure and finally returned home. Once he slid into the spot he was supposed to be in, all the knives would be together and could have a party. Then, Kumasawa-san said we should give them their privacy and shut the door. The poor things hidden by the witch must get lonely easily, so when the witch tells them she'll take them somewhere fun, they're happy to go along with her. How can you stop them from doing this? Take them home right away. Exactly. They're lonely, naughty kids, so they'll go with the witch if they get the chance. So, you must always take them home quickly. Look at that Mr. Key you just tied to a string. He's sitting there all alone, crying and asking you to put him in his home in your pockets. I am lonely. The voice of the lonely Master Key finally reached my ears. I hurried to pick it up, took the other end of the string and tied it to my pocket button, and put the key in my pocket. See? I'm home! Mr. Key gets lonely so easily, so let's take him home right after we use him, okay? If you keep making little friends like this, even Beatrice and I won't be able to prank you much longer.
Man, Kumasawa's just so great with kids.
He's the best character. Clink. When break time was over and I stood up to see what I should help with next, I felt a tug, and the key ring with the master key fell to the floor. Once again, I had left the master key on the side of the sofa and forgotten it was there. The instant I stood up, the string pulled on it and it fell to the floor. Without Kumasawa-san's spiderweb charm, I would probably have left that master key lying here again. The master key left all alone would have been led away by the witch and disappeared. Whew, that was close. And once again, I heard the master key, who had almost been left on its own, cry and tell me that it wanted to go home. I'm sorry. Come on, let's get back home to my pocket.
Stop.
What do you want?
I just wanted to point out.
Yes.
This picture on the desk looks like a goldfish with a bow tie staring out the front.
No! What are you talking about?
Look, it's got an eye and a goldfish mouth, and then there's like a fucking bandana tied around its neck.
It's clearly a portrait of a man, but it's just I don't see any goldfish. Sorry, I don't have love. I can't see. I can't see the goldfish.
I really wonder what that's actually supposed to look like. But I just looked down and I saw a goldfish, and now I can't unsee the goldfish.
Comment below if you see a goldfish. Yay, I'm home. Thank goodness. I almost got pranked by the witch again. Oh, what's this? What an amusing notion using string like that. Oh, that would totally be one of the other... That's okay. All of a sudden, I heard a wild, shocked voice from over my shoulder. It was a voiceless voice, a witch's voice, the kind you can't hear unless you try. Beatrice? Here she comes.
That's me, my friend. Forgot about your key again, and just when I was about to tease you a bit.
It's a spiderweb charm that Kumasawa-san showed me. Apparently, it does its job well.
Indeed. I hate to admit it, but it does. I certainly wouldn't want to touch that. After all, you wouldn't want to put your finger on a razor and slide it across, would you?
Oh, that's a scary example. My finger hurts just thinking about it.
But good for you. You didn't have to get yelled at by Natsu for you losing your key again. You should be thanking me.
Why?
Because I annoyed you. You learned of that ritual, correct? Thanks to that, you've managed to avoid the screw-up of forgetting where you'd left your key once again. In other words, it's all thanks to me. Don't I deserve some gratitude?
I really don't like it, but she does have a point. Because of all the trouble Beatrice caused me, I talked to Kumasawa-san and learned the ritual from her.
Well, Ben, if I hadn't stabbed you, you wouldn't have gone to the hospital and gotten help. So
Thanks.
really, you should thank me.
Thanks for stabbing me so I can go to the hospital and get healthy medicine. Yeah. Even without the witch's pranking, if I didn't have that ritual, I would have gone to my next job and left the master key there. If that happened, then surely I wouldn't have been able to find the key and it would have been a big mess.
We call this punishment to make an example. By magnifying your mistakes, I've shown you what they are, as a friend. Don't you see how much you've grown? Yeah, Ben, don't you see how much you've grown? You've learned not to get stabbed in future.
The hole in my chest has certainly grown by about 10 sizes because of this knife wound. I get the feeling that Kumasawa-san is the one I should be thanking, not you. Thank you.
My, what a thankless job we witches have.
Anyway, I win this time. Okay, I need to get back to work now.
Very well, my friend. We'll call this your victory. However, I'm bad at giving up. I keep watching you even more closely now until I can even the score. Prepare yourself. There are still several small items that a person like you is likely to forget.
I like the idea that she's literally threatening, like, there are so many little things that I could take from you. You really feel it this time.
It's like she's fucking mugging her in the streets, like fucking wallet and phone. I don't have them on me. Well, there are many other small things you could give me.
Yeah. I could take those earplugs.
You can't attach strings to all of them.
The spiderweb ritual isn't the only one I have. I also learned the take them home ritual. I won't let you have your way anymore.
Let's see how well you actually do. Even so, that's quite a bright smile you got there. When a witch appears, should be time to cry, not laugh. Your break time is over. See if you can manage to do your job today without slowing down the older servants.
Sure. Today is Sunday and the weather is wonderful. I'd better do my best.
Indeed, go to it with all you can manage. Well, that's right. Sanon's been in a bad mood all morning. You better try and avoid eye contact with her. Also, your fortune for the day is water hazard. Make sure you take care when standing near buckets of water. This is you we're talking about. I'll be waiting for you to knock over a bucket and get scolded just like usual.
Thank you, Beatrice.
So Sanon, I'm imagining, is like Satan? Is that where the names are?
I don't know. Maybe. It's possible.
What other names do we have? Rinon and Lunon. Lunon, like Lucifer.
Maybe.
Rinon and wouldn't match, so I'm abandoning that.
I don't know if that's gonna be a thing. I'll be honest.
abandoning this course of action.
I rarely shut you down on your reasoning, but this might be one to let go.
I think I can give in here.
Yeah. Back when I still couldn't see her, I simply hated this prank-loving witch. But now that I could talk with her, it felt as though she wasn't all that bad. Of course, there was no need for me to be grateful to her. To the witch called Beatrice, who despises boredom, mocking the misfortune of others is like what eating food is to us. Humans and witches are different, incompatible beings, and yet, it felt as though we could become friends. Of course, she's still a witch. I mustn't get careless, and yet, not being careless is a good thing. Thanks to the tricks and rituals I use to keep her at bay, I'm able to concentrate. That could hardly be a bad thing. Those things will be useful for my job and my life, even when I don't have to worry about the witch's pranks. I see. So this witch called Beatrice really is like a demon. Apparently it's possible to build up a friendship, even while speaking hostile to each other.
Ever since then, there was an incredible change in that kid.
Because of all the rituals.
Oh, that's right. That child was quite faithful when it came to obeying rules, and flawlessly followed all of the rituals I taught. You mean by attaching strings to everything, and by doing that going home thing all the time?
Yes, that kid would sometimes say it out loud. It was really cute, like watching someone play house with a bunch of tools.
Just like a kid.
But they were a kid, right? With adults, you can say something one way and all of them will understand. However, there really are many different types of kids, and many different ways to teach them things. If you can find just the right way, they learn quite easily. So, shout out to Kumasawa for teaching quote-unquote rituals to the person who would later become Beatrice. Just a quick shout out.
It's almost like that's what the point of the beginning of episode 3 was.
It's very interesting stuff. It's all tying back around.
Like string.
Yeah, like spider webs.
Oof. Some kids learn better when they're punished and some learn better when they're praised.
I used to scare a neighborhood kid and tell him that a fairy would take his things if he didn't keep good track of them. Oh, this is the same, except the fairy became a witch.
Still, doesn't that sound like fate?
After all, you knew this kid was Beatrice's child, didn't you? Yes, I did know.
Must have been strange to tell Beatrice's child that the witch Beatrice would play pranks on you unless you put your stuff away neatly.
Oh, when the child came and told me that a witch was stealing things and pulling pranks, it made me think. I took it as a sign that the late Beatrice Sama had become a witch and was coming to teach her child to keep track of things. That's why I thought this is the best way to teach that child.
That kid started out with a bad reputation for forgetting and losing things, but got a lot more cheery after overcoming those bad habits.
By surpassing weaknesses, those weaknesses became strengths, and that is how people gain confidence and grow up. Those small spurts of growth made me feel as though this was my own grandchild.
Thank you, Genji-sama.
Good work with the big cleanup today. We never know when an important guest might come and borrow one of the rarely used rooms. It is important that you do not slack off in your cleaning.
Of course. All of us are fully aware of this fact.
I hope that is the case. When I looked around, I found this. Whose is it? Genji took a master key ring out of his pocket. Apparently someone had dropped their master key. All the servants swung around to look at me, the usual offender.
Come on, Yasu again? You shouldn't be so quick to judge. I have mine, of course. There's no way I'd drop something that important. And the rest of you? I have mine. Got it. So it was you, Yasu. Do you still not get it even after that scolding Madam gave you? Process of elimination, here we go. You're just so,
Normally, I would cower and apologize under their glares, whether I was guilty or not. However, I have changed. So I proudly held up the key with the string still attached. Oh, a device to keep yourself from dropping it. A commendable precaution. Genji-sama's face was as expressionless as ever. However, those were unmistakably words of praise. Oh.
That's right. You won't drop them anymore. After all, you have your ritual now.
That's right. I nodded proudly, a huge smile on my face. The proud experience of that day, of that moment, would be engraved into an unforgettable page in the memory of my young life. So, whose key did Genji find? There was only one servant who hadn't raised their key. As she muttered, "It has to be Yasu's key, not mine," and fished in her pocket, her face went pale. What a nerd. You mustn't slack off, even when doing your everyday tasks. But everyone makes mistakes from time to time. I will not press the point, but blaming your teammate instead of reflecting on your own actions is not something I would consider praiseworthy.
My apologies.
The older servant turned red and hung her head. Behind her, though no one else could see it, was the witch.
My friend will not make the same mistake again. After all, even though I've always got my eyes on this kid, I can never find a chance to try anything. But it's a shame. If this girl here has lost her keys, I should have tried pranking her long ago.
Please don't pranky people other than me.
Huh? Did you say something?
No, nothing. I tried not to feel vindictive, but after being called dull-witted for so long, I was finally able to hold my head up high. On that day, for the first time, I truly felt as though I'd gotten used to life as a servant of the Oshiromiya family.
When people compliment you, it feels like they've acknowledged you. It's very important. People cannot grow without it.
And what happens when people grow?
First, it becomes possible for them to find some leeway. Jobs that used to make them scared make them worry about whether they were doing things the right way or not. It can then be carried out with confidence. That's right. Once things become easy, that gives you some latitude.
And what happens next?
Gives you a chance to enjoy your time more. As Genji might say, gives you time to relax your mind. If you're tense all the time, that just wears you out. It's good to take it easy for a bit if you can.
You mean, you learn so much that you could start slacking off on the job?
Sounds bad when you put it that way. However, there's nothing wrong with cleverly carrying out your tasks quickly and using your free time to enjoy yourself. Times like that are what enriches a human's life.
Come to think of it, Goda plays crosswords a lot between jobs.
He also invents dishes with leftover ingredients. Playing a bit and refreshing yourself can be good for your efficiency. You might say that inventing dishes combine work and play. Even Genji slacks off when no one's looking.
What?
He'll watch TV or swipe some of his master's drink. And he reads complicated books.
Even Genji? Do you remember all the times when Genji went to talk to Kinzo and we saw Kinzo like drinking?
Yeah.
The popular speculation is that Genji just goes into the study and just drinks.
I think that makes perfect sense, especially considering that Kinzo is dead.
Yeah, definitely. The drinks have to go somewhere.
In short, it's all about cleverly using the gaps between jobs to play. If it goes too far, it can turn to laziness. However, people only become mature when they learn to balance work with pleasure. Simply put, if all you care about is work all the time, you're not fully mature.
So, that kid learned how to play between jobs?
It's hard to imagine that overly serious kid slacking off at work. It started with learning how to interact with people. That kid formed a relationship with Kumasawa, the person who was always kind, and started borrowing books from her and talking together about them.
Even I had friends at school, but because of my work, there was no chance to deepen our friendship. Jessica was always kind and modest, but there was Natsu's stern order to think of, so we couldn't play together very much. So, at that time, Kumasawa, the one who was always as kind as a mother to me, was the person I felt the closest to.
Kumasawa was old enough to have grandchildren. They couldn't exactly run around and play together. He developed an interest in Kumasawa's hobby.
And what's Kumasawa's hobby?
Books. Might be hard to believe, but Kumasawa was a huge mystery novel fan. So the kid wanted to find out what sort of books they were and started reading them. That's right. The nice thing about mystery novels is that you can talk about them while you read them.
I know that well. My dude. It's been a long journey to get to this point.
Right?
Even Kumasawa, who already knew the answer, must have enjoyed listening in and hearing on what sorts of theories a young intellect could create.
I bet she would.
Oh boy. That's the most meta I think we've ever been.
It's so good. Of course, I didn't start right away with the complicated books Kumasawa read. First, I asked for recommendations to get books from the school library. I would even bring them into the servant room and read a bit during every break. Every time a new theory popped into my head, I told Kumasawa about it through Discord. And she, who already knew the answer, would nod at my theory and grin and send a short reply.
This is too meta. This is way too meta right now.
That was a lot of fun for me. I hope it was.
It has been a lot of fun. Hopefully I don't go batshit insane and kill a whole bunch of people after this.
Yep, okay.
You going to take a bath? Bath time's almost over.
Yeah, just a bit more. Another one of the Indian figures just disappeared.
You've just become a total mystery nut. If you get too excited reading, you won't be able to sleep again.
According to Kumasawa-san, the culprit has already appeared, but I don't have a clue who it is.
What's the book called?
It's by Agatha Christie, and then there were none. It's really interesting. Almost like it's a crime happening on Rokenjima.
Oh god.
Yeah, here we go.
This is getting way too meta.
This is getting incredibly meta.
This is so meta.
I know.
So the setup...
I was going to say, do you want to tell us the story?
The setup here is that this was fucking Sayer's favorite mystery novel and decides to go recreate it. That's fun.
Yeah.
Which also, if I understand the premise of And Then There Were None, is great because the culprit in And Then There Were None wanted to make the perfect mystery.
Yeah.
It's so meta.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
It's a really famous mystery novel, isn't it? Wasn't that a perfect crime, at least until the culprit confesses to the truth in a message bottle at the end?
Oh no.
Yeah.
This is gonna get so meta in a
It's
bit.
incredibly meta. I do want to say, I hadn't actually read the story at this point. I literally paused this scene and went and read the synopsis to like know what was going on.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Shout out to... Spoilers.
Why would you say that? Bleep that out.
I'll beep that out.
Shout out to Agatha Christie. Best girl. Did you say an incredible book?
What? Did I? I don't remember.
I don't
An
think you
incredible
did.
book.
Yeah, thank you.
I have now.
Shh. I'm enjoying myself, so don't spoil me. Go take a bath now. I'll go by myself later.
Okay. See you later then. Don't forget to take a bath, okay?
Holding a change of clothes, Shannon smiled amusedly as she left the room. I probably won't be able to read the whole thing tonight. Even though I know that, I just keep turning the pages, unable to find a good place to stop. My new joy, the mystery genre, the mental game of thinking and theorizing, and also talking about it with Kumasawa-san. All of that left me enraptured.
See me become a complete bookworm. Well, if you do stay up and get sleepy, that just makes my job easier.
We can't have that. I'd better find a place to stop soon.
In ancient times, I was born in, pleasures such as mystery novels didn't exist.
I don't believe you.
I've been reading over your shoulder, and this truly is a captivating read.
Beata, who do you think is the culprit?
And then there were none.
Yeah. Who is this U.N. Owen, I wonder?
The culprit who lured the victims to the island, of course.
There are no more than 10 people on the island, and U.N. Owen doesn't exist.
Someone must have stranded them on the island and waited somewhere far away for them to die of starvation.
No, that's not right. He or she is on the island. They're one of the 10 people. I just don't know who.
How do you know that there are only 10 people on the island?
That's just how it is. Since, if you doubt that, you're stuck. Or it's just a standard rule of the mystery genre, or,
Culprit owns the island, correct? They may be hiding in some hidden room. Or perhaps they're like me. They may be a 1,000-year-old witch. No. If they were to go to such lengths to kill a mere 10 people, they couldn't be 1,000 years old. 495 years old at best, I'd say.
fucking Gaap. Closed rooms do appear a lot in mystery novels, and books often use the phrase, it could only conceivably have been done with magic. And here I am with a witch right before my eyes. It's a complicated feeling.
Very entertaining, these closed room murders. Once you read the answer, it becomes a tale of humans or a mystery novel. But if you take out the part that reveals the answer, it becomes a tale of witches or a fantasy novel.
Yes. That's an interesting way to look at it. So, there's only a tiny difference between human novels and fantasy novels.
If a trick exists, it becomes a human novel. If there isn't one, it's a witch novel. Simply take out the last few pages of that book you're reading, and you might think a lady you ain't own is a witch on the same level as myself.
That might be surprisingly wise coming from you. So, the culprit of an answerless detective novel is a witch.
All of the dark places in this world belong to us witches. So I could reign as the culprit for all detective novels across the world.
Except if you reason it out right and find the true answer, then the witch is done for.
These detective novels can be quite intriguing, it seems. This looks to be a truly entertaining thinking game.
That's right. This is a thinking game. You fight against the book, make a theory, and then compete against friends who have also read the book.
Perhaps, but it's also a fight between humans and witches. Will you allow for or deny the magic in my closed room murders? Call it a chess match of mystery.
So, isn't a book I'm reading, but a challenge against you.
Indeed. As Shanna said a short while ago, the story apparently has the truth revealed by a message bottle at the end. So if you can't expose the truth of the tale before that point, you lose. After all, the message bottle just happened to drift somewhere it could be seen. If it got smashed and sank before anyone saw it, it'd be a perfect crime. Or in other words, a witch's crime that's impossible for humans.
That's a fun way to look at it. A fight between me and the witch. Yeah, I really like thinking of it that way.
Starting out until you finish reading. I am Lady Owen, the 495-year-old witch. Can you see through my deserted island murder tricks?
This is so silly. I love it. I do have one theory. You want to play with me, don't you? I've been reading books so much, you've gotten lonely.
That too.
Incidentally, the game Beatrice and I played around and then there were none, ended with my defeat. In the end, I wasn't able to build a satisfying theory and I had to learn the truth from the message bottle. Luckily, it did manage to drift into human hands. If it had sunk to the bottom of the ocean as Beatrice had suggested, I would have had no way of knowing the truth. In other words, I was forced to acknowledge UN Owen as a witch. Mystery? I once thought it was just a genre of novels. To think that it could be so easily become a fight between witches and humans, truth and fantasy. I was instantly enraptured by this new game.
I swear, if we bring up Higurashi at any point, I'm going to flip something. Not the table. The table's a bit heavy.
I was gonna say, this is like up against the wall. It's a desk chair table. Desk table.
Desk chair table.
What is a desk chair? Actually, that's not that complicated. It's just built into the corner.
A desk chair table.
There's just two places you can sit on. I believe you had something. Anyway, as the months passed by, I read through all of the mystery novels in this cool library and started to read mystery novels for adults. I discussed them with Kumasawa. I discussed them with Shannon. I played my game of theory chess, the fight between witches and the truth. Those days were so much fun. Oh, I am one yet many. Here's the fun game of the mind that enraptured me.
There you go.
Woo!
How fun.
Yeah.
Man, that was so meta.
I know. This is incredibly meta.
I feel like I had something that I came up with to say at the end halfway through, but also I've kind of forgotten because of how meta that got. That was ridiculous.
Was it how much you love having this playthrough with me?
Maybe.
Oh, I hope so. I've been the Gaap to your Yasu.
I suppose so.
Or the Beatrice to your battler, either way. Whatever gets us the most shipping. We will see you all next time for New Days!
My goodness.